Hi everybody, thank you for joining me today. Today I'm going to talk, well, you can watch a video with me doing my latest set of doodles. Here I am using the Derwent Inktense Watersoluble Ink Pencils. They're actually really fun. I had a lot of fun using them, and I feel this is pretty much going to be how I'm going to color going forward. I really enjoyed using them. This is my 160 GSM Scribbles That Matters bullet journal, which means the paper is super thick. So it's handling the watercolor really well. Now, fair enough, because these are watercolor pencils, um, they aren't as saturated, or you don't need as much water to create the saturation you need. So highly recommend, lots of fun. But now let's get into it. Today's video is 3 tips to draw better doodles. Now, there are lots of tutorials that you can use to show you how to draw specific things, but I'm going to talk about it from more of a bigger picture standpoint. So I'm actually going to start with the most controversial one, so bear with me. When you're learning to draw or learning to doodle, you need to learn, and part of the learning process is tracing and copying. Now, when I say that, if you're going to trace and copy and post on social media, then yes, you need to give credit to the original artist. That is not what I mean. I don't mean to just do your own thing when you're tracing or copying, not at all, but that's how you learn. A lot of people don't think that's how you learn, but that's how I learned. And I stand by it. Again, if you're going to post it on social media, you're definitely going to want to give credit where credit's due, especially when you're tracing or copying something specific. Um, and then study, like look at your favorite artists or look at your favorite illustrators and look what they're doing, see what they're doing. For me, when I read my kids their bedtime books, I look at the illustrations that the artists have made in the books, in the kids' books, and I look at the little details they add, the little bit of shading here and there, the colors. So really you can get inspiration from anywhere. I mentioned earlier in the video about the specific tutorials that you can do, like how to draw a pineapple or how to draw an ice cream cone. Work through those, learn through those. If you look at Rio Illustrates, one of my favorite Instagram accounts, I'll link her down below. She does amazing things with colored pencils. And the shading, the details, everything is just so beautiful. And if you just look and see how she creates that, I'm fortunate enough that I get to play in Procreate, and Procreate's been great for my learning curve because you just undo it. If something doesn't work, you can just undo it. But it's fun to play. And now what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to take what I've learned in Procreate and use it in analog art, if you will. But make sure to check out my blog. I'll post more resources for you on Doodle Guides that I followed, and you can take a look and see what works for you. We're fortunate enough that there are so many out there, and so it's just a matter of finding a style that works for you. Now, the second thing I'm going to talk about is probably the hardest thing you can look at or figure out, and that is adopting your own style, and more importantly, accepting your own style. This was a big one for me. I'm a perfectionist, and I would always look at somebody else's art and think I could never do that. And now I'm noticing the same trend on social media where people are commenting, "Oh, your illustrations are so cute. I could never do that. I could never doodle like that. I can't doodle. I can't draw." You can. You just can't draw necessarily. You can't draw like somebody else because that's not the point. That's their style, that's their art. You have your own style and you have your own art, and yes, to you, you're not going to see the creativity in it. So you may joke that you draw like a 3-year-old. Well, if you consistently draw everything like a 3-year-old, then guess what? That's your style. Adapt it. You know what I mean? Adapt it to what you want and how you want it to look. Add shadows, add texture, add little lines here and there, dots. you look at what's popular right now in prints, and it tends to be these blobs, well thought out blobs, but blobs of watercolor. And then people have drawn over top of them with fine liner, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And it's this like abstract art, and it's it's just beautiful to look at and see. And that might not be your cup of tea. Let's face it, you don't like everybody's art that you see out there. So not everybody's going to like your art. Not everybody's going to appreciate your doodles. But if you're looking to please the masses, then I think you need to find a new hobby because that's impossible. Um, but again, it's very, very, very important that you learn and accept your own style. So while you're tracing and copying and studying, you're going to find, especially with copying, you're going to find that your regardless of how close you're copying, it's still going to look different from the original artists. And that's your style that's coming into play. So learn from it, play with it, experiment with techniques, experiment with mediums. So for example, for this video, I'm experimenting with watercolor pencils, and other videos I've done markers and regular pencils, and just you need to play and you need to find what you're comfortable with and what you enjoy. Doodling is supposed to be something you enjoy. So definitely, definitely spend some time and just try and find your own style and accept it. Accept that that's your style, and you will be so much happier and less hard on yourself for sure. Now, third the third tip is probably the one I hate the most because I'm impatient and I just want to be able to do everything right away. But the third tip is to practice. Practice, 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 practice. You have to practice. I started doodling. I did doodle challenges for about 6 months, and then I stopped. And when I picked it up again, I didn't start at ground zero, but I started at level 1 or 2. And it took me a little while to claw back to where I am today. And where I am today, I've never been here before, and I'm loving it. To be able to see something in your mind or see an actual real life object and be able to draw it and or transform it into something on paper has just been such an amazing experience for me. I've wanted to draw ever since I was little, and same thing, I fell into the whole, oh, I don't know how to draw, I'm not an artist, I can't draw. Well, guess what? Now I am. So it's a lot of practice, and you just have to keep that in mind. So patience and practice. There are a ton of doodle challenges out there that you can do. I run one every month. This month I have Fruit Bowl going. I believe I have some of my older ones up on my blog as well that you can check out and decide. But otherwise, I know that Plans That Blossom has a doodle challenge. There are even lettering challenges that you can adapt into doodle challenges that you can work on that. You can doodle and letter at the same time, and then two birds with one stone. You're practicing your lettering, you're practicing your doodles. Make your own doodle challenge if you don't find anything you like. If there's a doodle challenge and there's something that comes up that's too challenging for you to draw, skip it. Try, but if it's causing you to not want to do the challenge, then just skip that day. I mean, no one's standing over you making sure that you're doing the whole month, doodling every day the whole month. I mean, let's be serious. No one really has time for that anymore. I tend to sit down and do my doodles at once, and it's relaxing. It's part of my self-care, and that's okay. Yes, it is a doodle every day challenge, but no. Sometimes that's really hard. One of the artists that I look up to the most is Michelle Baxter, and with her tag is Quirky Heart on Instagram. And her big thing is to do something creative 15 minutes a day. You take 15 minutes out of your day and you do something creative. Now, in that 15 minutes, that's where you can practice your doodles, or that's where you can practice your lettering, or even both. It doesn't have to be even, you don't have to sit down for hours to figure this out. I mean, 15 minutes every day over a year, well, that's a lot of time. Even over a month or a week, that's still a lot of time to have done something for yourself. And that's what doodling and drawing is. It's doing something for yourself. So I hope my TED Talk slash soapbox talk today kind of hopefully made an impact on you so that you can kind of figure out for yourself and realize for yourself that if you want to doodle, then doodle. Just do it. I mean, if you head over to my blog, you'll see my first doodles, and they are not that great. But I did it, and it was fun, and it's what led me to where I am today. So you need to remember everybody starts from somewhere. A lot of Instagram accounts scroll down to their first postings. A lot of people, like my account, definitely, if you check out my account, I have when I first started lettering and when I first started doodling, all that stuff is still there. And I know a lot of other accounts are the same. So just go back and you'll get a sense of where everybody started and where they're at now. And it really helps. It really makes you realize that you can be like that too. Now, I'm not saying I'm like the best doodler out there, but I'm having fun and I'm enjoying it, and I hope it shows in my work. So again, I'm going to say thank you again for coming to my TED Talk. If you want to go over this information again or bookmark it to refer back to, you can check out my blog. I've linked that down below as well. And yeah, I hope this inspires you to grab a pen and pencil and just put something down on a page. So thanks for joining me today.